Jaturon! Thanks so much for participating on the 50th AnimChallenge and congrats for winning it. Your shot is incredible. I can't believe how much stuff you put in there, how dynamic it is, how energetic. So I had a really hard time finding stuff to say that you can push. So I will be mostly highlighting what you did really well and what's working super well. I would say we dive right in. We have a look at it together once and then I'll go through it frame by frame. Here we go. This is so cool. I've watched it a million times already and it doesn't stop to amaze me. So I'm gonna scrub through here. Audio scrubbing is off. So I love that you put Shiggy, or I think it's Squirtle in English, on his head, and then once Spider-Man starts to run, he has to push him off, and I love that turn here. It just adds so much more dynamism if you're not just like bouncing into the wall and then going right back into a regular run cycle, but you're having all those twists and turns, and it just adds so much because it feels really hand-keyed. And also, I love how many different ways of falling you have in here, because there are so many different characters and everyone's having some kind of different fall into the screen. Because sometimes what happens is we're lazy and we try to just copy paste one and the same animation to all of those characters, and then it just looks copy pasted. So good job on that one. You really made that look like very individual and everyone's falling in a different way. So cool. So on turns like that, especially if they're so fast, it can be really challenging for us, for the viewer, to see what's going on and to keep the connection with the character. And you did a really great job on doing that, just by really polishing those arcs and really making the turn flow well and not just like having everything bounce over the screen. So really good job on that one. Like, for example, if I track the hand here, oops, turning on the ghosting, you have a little bit of hang time in the back just to create more impact here. And then it's going down and over and then down again for starting to run. And just like this really cool arc here lets us lead the eye of the viewer. And so very well done here. One thing that I think you can improve, but it's kind of hard to tell. Like, for example, the Pokemon head guy is feeling as if he's slowing down on the fall, but maybe it's because he's already impacting the wall in here, and I just can't see that because of there is no shadow, there is no ambient occlusion or nothing. And then he just feels as if the spacing is slowing down compared to like here, bam, bam, and then he's going over. But as I said, maybe that's just an optical illusion because he's already impacting in here. Could be. And some arc stuff and where you can embed a little bit more squash and stretch would be, for example, a pig. He's up, then he's down, then he's up again, and then he's just doing this little unenthusiastic little beanie shape. So what I would do is just have him impact into the wall and really have like this slam, boosh, doom. So we really get that impact, maybe even like having him curl upwards. It of course always depends on, sorry, one second. It of course always depends on the rig and what it's capable of, how much squash and stretch you can put in there, but it just feel like you can really push the squash and stretch here so we get like bigger spacing and then maybe already have like one frame impact and then one frame up and then, or like a few frames up and then slamming down into the floor. So just something. It's really tiny, so nothing big. Gonna turn off the ghosting. I really like how you already have, I think it's Leonardo, the guy with the blue mask, have him hang in screen space just so we can really see, like, Spider-Man is running, his eyeline is towards where we're looking, his arm is pointing there, his leg is pointing there. So you have so many lines already pointing to the point where you want the audience to focus on. So really well done on that one. He's really clear to read. One thing, since it's happening so fast and we only have like those few frames of seeing the saber sword, lightsaber, I'm not sure what this is. We could already maybe have it show up in here. Just so it's a little bit better to read. Since it's happening so fast, everything is like up right at the top of screen space. So yeah, that would be a tiny point as well. Then one thing pose-wise, so naturally our knuckles are always curved. So this line of knuckles feels quite CG here and here. So just what I'm saying is, like, if they're all aligned on one straight line, it feels a little artificial. And what would be more organic, and what you're doing later on as well, maybe it's just something that slipped, is to really push the curve. So we push one knuckle up, we push one knuckle down and inwards. So just to have that nice rotation and more of an organic shape. And I know this was probably done really fast because you had so many characters and so much stuff to do and so little time, but also there's some rotation issues, I would say. Maybe it's on the rig, maybe it's just some deformation, some weird one. Like here it looks like there's a dent in his shoulder, and then we have, which is perfect to see because he's got those markings on there, a really strong rotation here, which feels a little bit as if it's broken. So maybe just have the bendy control twist a little bit more. But that would be just to polish those poses even more, because the shape is really nice. Maybe even like show some more of the shoulder and chest so he doesn't look so broken here. But that's tiny stuff. I love the way you transition into his hand forward with using a smear frame. It's just guiding the eye so well. And what they did on Spider-Man all the time is to show those red palms. And I think you've done a great job here. Maybe you could even like show either some fingers here or still some fingers and palm down there, just so we don't lose the shape completely for the next couple of frames. Again, super tiny stuff. I'm saying I had to look so closely to find some things. So yeah, really great job. I love it. Then really well done on having his eye line already towards the hammer appearing. Maybe you could keep the eye line just one more frame so we really get that. You can already push down with the body. I would just keep the head up maybe for one more frame and then drag it down, just for the audience to read it a little bit better. And those Looney Tunes flying up in the air. You did a great job on just clearing the frame and then having such a long hang time for Spider-Man so we can refocus, because everything's shaky, everything is like explosion and everything's happening at the same time. But then you have like Spider-Man coming in first, hanging in the air, so we already focus on him. Then those two guys are flying in there as well, but they're so tiny, so we don't really notice them too much. And then the TIE fighter is coming in afterwards. So you you sequence that out quite nicely to really have one thing appear after the other, so the audience has the time to focus on the most important thing, which is Spider-Man hanging in the air. One thing that I don't buy 100% here is the arc he's flying in, because at the start he's a little bigger in screen, then he gets smaller, and then he feels like he's being dragged towards the camera again. But there is no like spider webs that he's shooting to just pull himself. It's just, it feels like there's some external force acting on him, but like those laser beams, they don't hit him. So I don't get why he would suddenly fly towards the camera. So my suggestion here would be to change the arc up a little bit, have him start a little bit smaller, maybe about the size that Duffy Duck is doing here. Then have the arc already towards camera, so it's just a natural transition for him to come to this really cool flying right past the camera. And the tiny thing is, I think it's, since it's happening so fast and we only see it for a tiny bit of frames, it would be lovely to just see a little bit more of the TIE fighter already. So either having it maybe come in screen from the left-hand side, or already have it a little bit more down so we can already read the shape. So it's still coming in from the top corner because you have this really nice arc here, and it would be a little worse if it just came on straight, but we could read it better. So yeah, have a look at that. Love the somersault. One thing you could do here is just to push the shape a little bit more to really sell that nice line of action, because right now his back is quite straight, but again, it's still working, it's still super nice, just something that would push it a bit more. Love that smear here again on the hand and on the head. You took it really far, but since it's like, you did that really well, because sometimes if we use smears too strongly or for too long, it just feels as if our character is growing and shrinking in shape. But since you did that like for one frame only, and then you just cover the distance in between up and down, it's just, it makes it so much easier to read without it being, how do I say that? You can feel it, but you can't see it, and that's done really well. I also love things coming close to camera, like the hand in here. It's really cool. Love the Spidey sense there. One thing in this is I didn't really see the fat Spider-Man guy running towards camera at the first time I watched it through. So maybe what you want to do is push this one over to maybe here. So we really free that space. You can still keep the same animation, the same pose. It's just more that we really free up that space because he's coming close so fast, but he's covered almost entirely. And we focus on his island, especially since he's got like a real face with real eyes, even though he's a robot, we still focus on his eyes. And if you push him over to here, he would not be the centerpiece anymore. Maybe even push the Stormtrooper over a tiny bit, just so we clear up the fat guy. Because I've seen that he's smashing through, but I only really realized he's coming in this shot. So once he barreled through all those characters and is right here. So yeah, freeing up that space, giving him a little bit more screen space to really see him coming would be great. I love that he's going screen right, dragging the foot again. Gives him so much energy. Flying up in the air and then charging the fist. One thing in this shot is it irritated me a little bit. So I love that you're focusing on the fist and then you're going into the full-blown loading up a little bit more and then diving into camera. What I don't love about this is that he's like growing bigger, then smaller again, and then bigger again. I'm not sure if it's the camera or him being animated on twos that's just giving the effect of him being pulled away and then getting closer again. So maybe just have a look, whatever that is. So he's not going forward, backward, forward, so you can simplify that a little bit, in other words. Again, love that you're pulling the hand right through the camera and then the fist is like boom, right in your face. On this one, I love how long you hold that last pose, and I love those stormtroopers all falling apart. What I think could be improved a little bit is the pose that we're focusing on mostly. So I do see a foot and then the blob and the hand and the head. But maybe you can just push that out a little bit more, just so it gets a tiny bit more clear what's happening. So we have the butt and then maybe the other foot standing here, already being cool. And then maybe we have like the face being squashed in here, and just to see a little bit more of the face and a little bit more of that backwards curve again. And also here, maybe we can already see like a little bit more of his face. I love that you have this arc with his hand, but maybe you can just clarify his silhouette a little bit more. So we have like a bit of a stronger C curve here before he's going into that like reverse C, maybe even having like the arm pushing like this. So he's like being hit in the middle of his back. Yeah, maybe you want to shift that so you have the same impact point, but then Spider-Man is like more in a little bit more of a straight line. So we just really feel like all that energy pulling down onto that character. Maybe even have a little bit more of a straighter leg. I'm sorry about my drawing skills. I really can't draw, but I hope you get the sense what I'm talking about. So just to really push that energy into the floor, really clarify that last pose, especially since you're holding it for so long. And since like all the energy is pushing out from like that hit in the middle, what it would also do is like a lot of those energy lines that you have here coming out from the centerpiece. And those are coming from the smash sign, but I would still keep those coming from the energy point in the middle as well. So I wouldn't have them go through your lovely pose. I would just have them also come from the inside and just push out, just so we can really focus on the middle piece, on Spider-Man hitting the fat guy. And then this is just our end piece, and we really savor that image. So you could like print it and put it on the wall. So yeah, that's about it. As I said, there's so little things that I'm saying like you can push that because it's so cool. It's really so cool. I don't know how you did that, and I absolutely love it. So keep up the good work. Just in case anyone who's watching ever wants to have a review like that, we do offer reviews over the Agora community page. So you can visit it, choose your professional that you want, and just submit your shot. But as I said, this is so cool. I absolutely love your work. And I've seen your supervisor, so no wonder it's so perfect. But yeah, I hope to see stuff from you again. I really enjoyed reviewing that. It was so much fun. And yeah, see you soon. Bye.